Alright, so you've just gotten your cholesterol numbers back from your doctor, and they're higher than you'd like. Your first instinct might be to reach for a prescription bottle, but here's what most people don't realize. You might be able to bring those numbers down naturally, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. Stay with me, because in the next 25 minutes, I'm going to break down the science behind cholesterol, give you 10 proven strategies that actually work, and show you how to track your progress. This isn't about fear-mongering or pushing you away from statins if you need them, but it is about giving you real options that can make a genuine difference in your health. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Dr. Fauci, and I've spent decades studying how the human body works and what really moves the needle on health outcomes. My goal with every single video is to cut through the noise and give you information backed by science, not by pharmaceutical companies. So if that's something you find valuable, I'd really appreciate it if you'd hit that subscribe button, because we're building a community here of people who care about their health enough to actually learn about it. Now, before we jump into the strategies, we need to understand what cholesterol actually is. A lot of people think of it as this pure evil substance that's going to clog up your arteries and end your life. That's not quite right. Cholesterol is actually essential for your body. It's a waxy substance that your liver produces, and it's used to build cell membranes, create hormones, and synthesize vitamin D. Without cholesterol, you literally couldn't survive. The problem isn't cholesterol itself, it's when you have too much of the wrong kind, or when your body isn't managing it properly. That distinction is absolutely critical to understand because it changes how we approach the solution. There are different types of cholesterol floating around in your bloodstream. You've got LDL cholesterol, which is the so-called bad cholesterol because it can contribute to plaque buildup in your arteries. Then there's HDL cholesterol, the good cholesterol, which actually helps remove that plaque and protect your heart. You've also got triglycerides, which are a type of fat in your blood that can be problematic at high levels. Most people focus only on lowering their total cholesterol number, but what really matters is the ratio between these different types. You could have a total cholesterol of 250 but have mostly HDL cholesterol, which is actually protective. You could have a total cholesterol of 220 and have terrible LDL numbers with low HDL. The first person is in much better shape. This is why I always tell people to look at their full lipid panel, not just one number. So let's get into the first strategy that actually works, and this one is foundational: dietary changes. Now, I know that sounds boring, and I know a lot of people hear diet advice and immediately tune out because they're tired of hearing about it. But here's the thing. What you eat is literally more powerful than most medications when it comes to managing cholesterol. The biggest culprit is trans fats. These are artificial fats found in processed foods, fried foods, and a lot of baked goods. They not only raise your LDL cholesterol, but they also lower your HDL cholesterol, which is a double whammy in the worst direction. Most developed countries have eliminated trans fats from the food supply, but they still show up in some products, so read your labels. The next thing you need to cut back on is refined carbohydrates. We're talking white bread, sugary cereals, pastries, and sugary drinks. These spike your blood sugar, which makes your liver produce more triglycerides, which increases your LDL cholesterol. It's a chain reaction. Instead, shift toward complex carbohydrates like oats, brown rice, and quinoa. These have fiber, which actually helps lower cholesterol by removing it from your system. Here's the second strategy, and this is where you want to lean in. Increase your intake of soluble fiber. Soluble fiber is like nature's cholesterol-lowering medication. It works by binding to cholesterol in your digestive system and removing it from your body before it can be absorbed. Some of the best sources are oats, beans, lentils, apples, pears, and barley. I'm not talking about taking a fiber supplement and calling it a day. I'm talking about incorporating these foods into your diet regularly. Studies show that just 7 to 10 grams of soluble fiber daily can lower LDL cholesterol by up to 10%. That's significant. That's comparable to some medications without any of the side effects. The third strategy is to load up on fatty fish. I know that sounds counterintuitive because we're talking about lowering cholesterol. But here's why this works. Fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, sardines, and trout are loaded with omega-3 fatty acids. These are unsaturated fats that have been shown to lower triglycerides, improve your HDL cholesterol, and reduce inflammation throughout your body. Aim for at least 2 servings of fatty fish per week. If you hate fish or you're allergic, you can get omega-3s from flax seeds, chia seeds, and walnuts, though fish is going to be your most efficient source. Strategy number 4. Switch to plant-based proteins when you can. I'm not saying you need to go vegetarian or vegan, but reducing your intake of red meat and replacing some of it with plant-based options like lentils, beans, chickpeas, and tofu can make a real difference. Red meat, especially processed red meat, contains a lot of saturated fat, which raises LDL cholesterol. Plant proteins are typically lower in saturated fat and higher in fiber and other protective compounds. Make it a goal to have at least 2 or 3 plant-based protein meals per week, and you'll start seeing results. Strategy 5 is all about adding plant sterols and stanols to your diet. Now that sounds like some complicated supplement, but it's actually simpler than you think. Plant sterols and stanols are compounds found in plants that have a chemical structure similar to cholesterol. When you consume them, they compete with dietary cholesterol for absorption in your gut, so less cholesterol actually gets absorbed into your bloodstream. You can find them naturally in nuts, seeds, vegetable oils, and whole grains. There are also a lot of foods now that are fortified with plant sterols, like certain margarine spreads and yogurts. Research shows that consuming 2 grams of plant sterols daily can lower LDL cholesterol by about 10%. That's another significant win without medication. Okay, strategy 6 is where we talk about exercise, and I need you to hear this. Exercise is absolutely transformative when it comes to cholesterol management. Physical activity raises your HDL cholesterol, lowers your LDL cholesterol, and reduces your triglycerides. All 3 of those things move your lipid panel in the right direction. You need to be doing about 150 minutes of moderate intensity aerobic exercise per week. That could be brisk walking, jogging, cycling, swimming, whatever gets your heart rate elevated. You should also incorporate strength training at least 2 days per week because building and maintaining muscle mass improves your cholesterol profile. The beautiful thing about exercise is that the benefits start showing up pretty quickly, often within 2 to 3 weeks of starting a consistent routine. Strategy 7 brings us to weight management. If you're carrying excess weight, especially around your midsection, that's contributing to elevated cholesterol, particularly elevated triglycerides. Losing even 10% of your body weight if you're overweight can significantly improve your cholesterol numbers. Now, I'm not here to sell you on weight loss for vanity reasons. I'm telling you this because the science is clear. Excess weight, particularly visceral fat around your organs, is metabolically active tissue that's driving up your cholesterol. Losing weight through a combination of dietary changes and exercise is one of the most effective ways to improve your lipid panel. And here's the good news. Many of the dietary changes we've already talked about will naturally lead to weight loss if you stick with them. Now here's where I want to check in with you. Have you subscribed to the channel yet? Because what we're covering here is genuinely life-changing information, and I release videos like this every single week. New research, practical applications, the stuff that actually matters. So if you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, now's the time. Okay, let's keep going. Strategy 8 is about stress management, and this is something that gets overlooked constantly. Chronic stress elevates cortisol, which increases inflammation throughout your body and can raise cholesterol levels. When you're stressed, your body also tends to make less HDL cholesterol. Implementing stress reduction techniques like meditation, deep breathing, yoga, or even just taking regular walks in nature can help bring your cholesterol down. I recommend starting with just 10 minutes of meditation daily. There are a ton of apps that can guide you through it. The research is solid on this. People who regularly practice stress reduction see measurable improvements in their lipid panels within weeks. Strategy 9 is something I'm very passionate about: getting quality sleep. Your body does a lot of repair work when you're sleeping, and that includes managing your cholesterol levels. When you're sleep deprived, you produce more cortisol, your insulin sensitivity decreases, and your cholesterol tends to go up. Aim for 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep per night. That means going to bed at the same time, waking up at the same time, keeping your bedroom cool and dark, and avoiding screens for at least 30 minutes before bed. I know that last part is hard in our digital world, but it makes a real difference in sleep quality. People who improve their sleep often see measurable improvements in their cholesterol without changing anything else. Strategy 10 gets into supplementation, and I want to be careful here because I'm not an evangelist for supplements. They can be helpful, but they're not a replacement for the lifestyle changes we've been talking about. That said, a few supplements have solid research behind them. Niacin, also called vitamin B3, can raise HDL cholesterol and lower LDL and triglycerides. Red yeast rice contains naturally occurring compounds similar to statins and has been shown to lower LDL cholesterol. Berberine is another compound that can help lower cholesterol and improve glucose metabolism. If you're thinking about adding any of these to your routine, please talk to your doctor first, because some supplements interact with medications and you need professional guidance here. Strategy 11 involves looking at your alcohol consumption. Now, I'm not saying you can never have alcohol again. That's unrealistic, and moderate alcohol consumption, particularly red wine, has actually been associated with better cholesterol profiles. But excessive alcohol consumption raises triglycerides and can contribute to weight gain, both of which worsen your cholesterol. If you're a drinker, keep it moderate, no more than 1 drink per day for women, 2 drinks per day for men, and on some days, don't drink at all. Strategy 12 is about reading food labels and understanding what you're actually eating. A lot of people think they're eating healthy foods when they're actually consuming hidden trans fats, excessive saturated fats, or massive amounts of sugar. Start spending 5 minutes in the grocery store actually reading labels. Look for products with less than 1 gram of trans fat per serving, less than 2 grams of saturated fat per serving, and limited added sugars. This single habit will transform what you're putting into your body. Strategy 13 is something called intermittent fasting, and I mention this cautiously because it's not for everyone, but there's solid research showing that certain eating patterns can improve cholesterol. When you give your digestive system regular breaks from processing food, your liver can focus on lipid metabolism. Some people benefit from a simple 12-hour overnight fast, where you stop eating at 8 p.m. and don't eat again until 8 a.m. Others do more structured intermittent fasting like 16-8, where you eat within an 8-hour window. There's promising research showing this improves triglycerides and can raise HDL cholesterol. But don't just start this without thinking about it. Make sure it fits your lifestyle and that you're still getting adequate nutrition. Strategy 14 involves monitoring your progress and staying accountable. Get a baseline lipid panel from your doctor, then plan to recheck it in 8 to 12 weeks after implementing these changes. Many of these strategies work synergistically, so when you combine them, you often see bigger improvements than you'd expect from any single change. Write down which strategies you're implementing, track them, and see which ones make the biggest difference in your numbers. This is personalized medicine at its finest, because what works best for you might be different from what works best for someone else. And the final strategy, number 15, is understanding when statins might still be appropriate. I want to be really clear here. I'm not anti-statin. Statins are powerful medications that have saved millions of lives, particularly for people with a strong family history of heart disease or those who've had heart attacks. What I'm saying is that for many people with mildly elevated cholesterol and no other risk factors, lifestyle changes should be tried first. You should have a conversation with your doctor about your individual risk factors. Is there heart disease in your family? Do you smoke? Do you have diabetes or high blood pressure? Those things all matter. Sometimes, medication is the right choice, and that's okay. But many people jump to medication without ever trying the lifestyle changes that could work just as well or better. Now, here's what I want you to do right now. Pick 3 of these strategies that resonate most with you. Don't try to implement all 15 at once, because that's a recipe for failure. Choose 3, commit to them for the next 8 weeks, and then get retested. I'm confident you'll see improvements. If you don't, then we can have a conversation about whether medication is appropriate for your situation. But most people who actually implement these strategies see significant improvements in their cholesterol levels. Before we wrap up, I want to remind you that this information is valuable because it's based on real science, real research, and real outcomes I've seen over decades in medicine. If you found this helpful, share it with someone you care about who's dealing with high cholesterol. The healthcare system is broken in a lot of ways, but one thing that hasn't changed is that people who take their health seriously and educate themselves tend to have better outcomes. You're already doing that by watching this video, so you're on the right track. If you have questions about your specific situation, if you want to know more about any of these strategies, drop a comment below. I read them and I often make videos based on the questions I get. And please subscribe to the channel because we're building a community here of people who are taking control of their health. New videos every single week, all of them designed to give you actionable information that you can use immediately. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.